Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tome of Knowledge, where we have knowledge and we give it to you about D&D specifically. Sometimes we don't
Whether
have
you like
knowledge.
it or not.
Yeah. We just take the knowledge and we just throw it at you and hope that some of it sticks. I don't know. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. We have a fun topic for today. Before we get into that, I'd like to say if you haven't checked out our YouTube, please check it out. There's some things there that you can't get other places. And then we also have our podcast, which is on every podcast platform that I can think of. So go check out our podcast, whichever your favorite one is. And aside from that, Wednesday, I think Bun's gonna be back for doing Bun art streams potentially. So don't miss that at 7 p.m. Pacific. And then Friday, we have our next episode 30 at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then Thursday, we have the release of the Out of Combat for episode 29, which is going to air with, who was in that? I was in that.
I was in
VS.
VS was in it.
Mac
was in it. My mind blanked for a second. I didn't have the list in front of me, so I forgot. Like I was there and I forgot. So
this topic was a tough one. This one's really tough.
Yes.
Trying to build characters that shouldn't work in 5th edition.
Yeah. Characters that shouldn't work, and some of them might not work. Who knows? We'll wait and see. So hopefully everyone's having a fantastic evening. But y'all just want to jump into it?
Yeah. Let's do it.
So first up, we've got Moobs. Let me change the scene here. Wow.
Set the scene.
Ooh wee. So I did the Moobs thing, and there was this prestige class I really enjoyed playing in 3.5. And what prestige, if you don't know what prestige classes are,
I don't know.
3.5 edition. So you had your base classes. They're kind of like subclasses. But in 3rd edition they're called prestige classes. They're basically advanced classes. You had to meet certain prerequisites in order to pick a prestige class. So I base mine off the arcane hierophant, which was basically a gish between a divine and an arcane spellcaster. And if you meet the prerequisites, you could go into this prestige class for the arcane hierophant, and essentially your spell scaling for both arcane and divine would scale at the same time, but you would never be able to cast. I think you would stop at level 7 spells, so you wouldn't have, if I remember correctly, you wouldn't be able to cast level 8 or 9 spells. So I tried to do that in 5th edition. So I made Sarjack Strun, is a metallic dragonborn. With the flare of lightning, so that he would be bronze. The bronze dragon guy.
Also, I forgot to mention before you get too much deeper, we're gonna post these character sheets to our Patreon. So if you are a patron of any level, and that includes just for free, you can follow Patreon for free. So as long as you're following on our Patreon, you can get these character sheets. So patreon.com/casters and cantrips. You can either be a paid patron or a free one, and you'll get access to it. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
No, yeah, of course. We want to share this with the community. Yeah, I had this fixation on a lightning theme for some reason. So I was like, I can either go Air Genasi or I can go Dragonborn with bronze style. So I was like, so I originally I made Owling. Then I went Air Genasi, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do Dragonborn. And that was the first time I saw Owling, by the way. I was like, what the heck is an Owling? I didn't even know.
Is it a Strixhaven or is it a Magic the Gathering one?
Chaos. Something Chaos? Is that Strix?
I don't know, but I'll look it up while you're talking.
Anyways. Well, I settled down to Dragonborn, and I was like, all right, how do I marry Arcane and Divine together with lightning thematic? I was like, actually, there's a Tempest Cleric subclass, and that has to deal with lightning stuff. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. And then sorcerer also has a lightning theme subclass. Um, the
Which
storm
one is that one?
sorcerer,
Ah.
storm sorcery, and from there I was like, maybe I should just split them even because we decided to do level 8. And I was like, no, that's not how 5th edition works. You don't split down the middle. Because in my mind, I was like, then I can get 2 stat bonuses because we decided that we were going to get a feat for free
Mhm.
at level 1 when making these characters. But
Yeah.
no. I was like, maybe I can do that. I was like, no. So I decided to
Probably should have led with
focus.
that too. That all these characters are level
Yeah,
8. We all
level
started
8.
with a free feat because that's what I do in my games. I think it's fun. So everyone gets a free feat at the beginning, and then we're using either standard array or point buy. So level 8, free feat, standard array or point buy.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did
go
standard
ahead.
array, and but my challenge was cleric and sorcerer don't use the same stat for spell casting. Cleric use wisdom, sorcerers use charisma.
Yep.
Do I gimp myself in one spellcaster to focus on the main ones, like sorcerer, for example, because I'm focusing on sorcerer as the highest of the furthest leveling class for this arcane hierophant. Um, so but I also didn't want to have bad DCs for the cleric spells because for sorcerer, my mind was the sorcerer would focus on offense, and then cleric would focus on defense and utility. So like if I had charm or hold person or whatever, if I wanted to debuff an enemy, I didn't want a low DC. So I kind of sacrificed all my physical stats and just focus on my mental stats. So
You're gonna love
at
my
level 8,
character, but go ahead.
level 8 with 45 hit points is not too great. I can
Ooh.
probably get 1 or 2 shotted. So
Because
I was
the lower con and the sorcerer
yeah,
dice.
the sorcerer hit die because I'm focusing sorcerer. I was like, all right, how do I mitigate this low hit points? Well, because I multi-class in cleric, I have access to heavy armor and shield. So I just beefed up with plate armor, and we actually didn't decide
Oh.
what money we had, but these are fictional characters that we're never gonna play. So
Yeah.
so I
That's
put
fine. I mean, yeah, anything out of the equipment tree, like or just basic equipment, go for it. You're level 8, whatever.
yeah, so I just
Mhm.
picked plate and I have a shield. And so I have 20 AC. So hopefully
Mhm.
that's enough to keep me alive, basically.
What's really interesting too is I'm noticing, since you went with the plate with the Tempest Cleric, right?
Mhm.
Um, what's also interesting is you don't have the strength for plate, so you can still wear it. You're proficient with it, but you're slower, right? You
Mhm.
take a 10-foot penalty
Yeah,
for
I moved
speed.
20 feet.
Oh God.
Amazing.
Squishy and slow.
I'm the slowest tin can that sparks lightning. So I
Fuck.
figured since my character can't really get around, I picked a lot of cantrips that were kind of in proximity. So
Yeah.
um before we get that, we should talk about the features of
All right, I'll go
each
back to the features.
subclass. All right, so I picked the Tempest domain,
Hmm.
so I get access to more lightning spells as my cleric levels up. And the reason I chose level 3 cleric instead of level 2 cleric and going level 6 sorcerer to get my next um, subclass feature,
Hmm.
I wanted the level 2 cleric spells. So that's why
Yeah,
I went 5-3 instead of 6-2.
that makes sense.
Um, and then so we have Wrath of the Storm. So when a creature within 5 feet of you can see, hits me with an attack, I can use my reaction uh, to force that creature to make a dex saving throw and then take 2d8 lightning or thunder damage.
Nice.
I thought about picking up shield. I already have a shield, and I was like, well, I'm probably going to be using this reaction the most,
Yeah,
so I can take so I can deal damage.
make things
And
think twice for trying to hit you.
and the second reason why I went Tempest Cleric and mixed it with the storm sorcery is for their channel divinity
Mhm.
ability called Destructive Wrath, and I could expend a
Oh.
channel divinity to maximize damage instead of rolling for lightning or thunder damage.
Oh.
So I'm using the cleric for the big boom booms to maximize my sorcerer attack spells. And then for storm sorcery, um, there's like a lot of little flavor stuff. I can make gust of winds, do fancy things. For sorcery points are the big ones. And I chose Twin Spell and Transmute Spell. And uh, the important thing for this character is for Transmute Spell, where I could change any other spell damage type, and I can change that to Lightning and
Yeah.
combo that with my Channel Divinity.
Which doesn't take an action at all. You just use it.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
then
sick.
I also took meta magic adept, so I can get 2 more meta magics abilities. So I picked careful and quicken, and then I just really want the main reason I took it is to get more sorcery points so I can transmute my spells more often.
Mhm. You get 2 more, right? With
Yes, 2
that?
more. So I
Nice.
would at level 8, my character has 7 sorcery points.
Oh, that's pretty sick. So you could just cast whatever spells you want, just transmute them, and then just
Yep, just maximize them. I think because I'm only level 3 cleric, I won't be using the destructive wrath too much, so I would have to save it.
yeah.
Um,
That's I mean, you could use that in multiple ways. So you could wait until like a big spell, like they fail the save, and you can just do max
mhm,
damage on it.
yeah, and this
Um,
big boom it.
force a crit. Or you could even use it where like if you need to hurt somebody and they save, it basically negates the save almost. Like you just force the rolls to be maximum and they're still taking quite a bit.
Yeah, they're taking half of max.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the idea between my character, just solely focusing on how to marry arcane and divine together, but be thematic with uh like an energy type.
Yeah.
But because I'm a slow boy and I have no hit points, I have high AC,
Mm-hmm.
and for cantrips I picked like booming blade, lightning lure, shocking grasp, just
Yeah.
stuff that I can, because I imagine I'm gonna be in melee a lot because I'm so slow. Um and I did pick up Misty Step so I can get away just in
Yeah.
case stuff's going down, and I'm like, I cannot I can't be in melee.
Get away or
Um
get in there if you want.
yeah, but because I'm a cleric and a sorcerer, I have a ridiculous amount of cantrips.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you
I
do. That's
have one,
awesome.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 cantrips. So yeah, it's just a lot of cantrips. So a lot of utility, a lot of usage of stuff.
Does Storm
Yeah.
Sorcery have a thing or like where if you cast a spell, you can move a certain amount of feet? Is that, or am I thinking of something else?
I think
Mm.
that you're right.
It's like 10 feet of
Maybe.
movement. You like glide, or you like
Let's see.
I think it's one of the class features.
Yeah, tempestuous magic. That'll
As a
help you
bonus
too.
action, you can cause a gust of air to surround you, and after you cast a spell level 1 or higher, you can fly up 10 feet without provoking attack of
So you
opportunity.
can kind of, yeah, you
Yeah.
can kind of get
Yeah, so I
around a little
can,
bit,
you
little
know,
bit,
just really a little tiny.
just a little hop.
Oh man. Just the immediately when you said that, my brain just went one hop this time. I don't know why.
2 hop this time.
I should know because I played the Storm Sorcerer with a rogue. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so I picked lightning lure because I can pull enemies toward me, and then I can
Mm-hmm.
follow up with like a shopping grass next turn.
Yeah.
Um, and then my character sheet looks weird because I have wisdom and charisma. They're both not equal.
Wild.
So
Mm.
I have different modifiers for each school of magic. So like
Mm.
obviously my sorcerer stuff's +4, +7 attack, 15 AC, but because my wisdom is lower for cleric spells, I only have a +3 modifier, +6 to attack for melee spell attacks, and DC is 14.
How
So it's a lot of math, a lot of numbies going on in your head, and trying to figure out what, am I casting for my cleric list or am I casting for my sorcerer list?
how does spell slots work? You just have that many?
Yeah, I have double the spells.
Mm.
So if we go to spells, I have um oh maybe not. That's curious. Actually, I don't know.
I don't remember the multi-classing of that of how spell slots work. I know it's
'Cause
specific. Yeah.
I have 4 level 1, 3 level 2, 3 level 3, and 2 level 4. So yeah, so I think maybe Beyond D&D does it automatically for me.
I'm assuming so. I don't know the
Yeah.
multi-class stuff for it, so it it also says you have access to 4th level. Is that I don't know if that's
Th
true either, is it?
That's also, I think, because I'm a level 8 caster, I don't technically have level 4 spells.
I'm gonna look up the multicaster list.
Yeah. Zeus says 8th level full caster, but only have access to 3rd level sorcerer and 2nd level cleric.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Interesting. I wonder how that would synergize is if you have not that there's a whole lot of sorcerer and cleric spell overlap, but if there's a spell on both lists, could you use your sorcerer to cast it because it's higher, because your charisma's higher DC, higher attack modifier? Maybe.
That's it's possible. Maybe that's just a DM call. Because Tempest clerics do get arcane spells as part of their prepared spell list. So like shatter, I
Oh.
have
But would they use wisdom to
call
cast those
lightning.
then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's part of the cleric spell list because of the subclass, even though they are arcane.
Gotcha.
Mhm. I'm reading the multi-classing spellcasting now. I never went this deep before.
But while Max is reading that, yes, so
Ah.
I picked for like my level 1 spells. So on D&D Beyond, it groups them together, but there's like a little italicized under it telling you what class they're from. So I like bless, I have chromatic orb. Chose chromatic orb because you could pick the
Mhm.
element that you wanted to cast. Cure wounds, of course, detect magic. Um cloud is part of the Tempest Cleric, so that's on my list. Healing Word and Thunder Wave. Level 2, I have Aid. I picked Blur to help me have more defensive capabilities, so enemies will have disadvantage while attacking me. Um,
I
Gust
have
of
a
Wind, Misty Step, Scorching Ray. I picked Scorching Ray because with Transmute Meta Magic, I can change that to Lightning. And Shatter, Spiritual Weapon. That one's always classic for clerics. That doesn't require concentration, so it's just a little floaty weapon. And D&D Beyond says I can cast cleric spells at 3rd level, but I think that's incorrect.
Well, that's so I've got answers for you. So first
Oh,
thing,
okay.
each spell you know and prepare is associated with a class. So you must use that class's spellcasting ability when you cast that
Mhm,
spell.
mhm,
And as far as the multi-class spellcaster, like with what Zeus was saying, is you're 8th level.
mhm.
So you have access to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th level spells. You can
Mm,
upcast your cleric spells with that,
mm.
but you don't have access to the higher level spells because of it. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. I can, even though I only have level 2 cleric spells, I can upcast them to level 4 because I have the slots.
Correct. Yeah, the slots. We just can't pick those level
Yeah, but
spells.
I can't. Yeah, correct.
Mhm.
Nice. And then of course I picked Fireball, which I can transmute to lightning,
Lightning
and then
ball. I guess
lightning
ball
ball.
lightning is a thing already. So
It is ball. And lightning
it's a
bolt, of
phenomenon.
course. Uh, yeah. I I think this would be a fun character to play because you have so many spells at your disposal.
Yeah.
But then you have spell paralysis. Like, I don't know. What are you going to cast? Because you have access to do different lists.
Well, I mean, like clerics and druids have access to the whole list anyway.
Yeah.
They don't have to. They have the whole list. I got to prepare anyway. So
And then
that's
I
cool.
almost went wizard, but then I was like, I think this synergy kind of works. But yeah, I'm just a little tin can, slow moving squish guy.
That's cool. Are you? I'm assuming you're um typically your attacks are gonna be like cantrips, right?
Yep.
They're
Mhm.
gonna be cantrips. I'm assuming not a lot of melee because you don't have really the stats for it.
I picked a weapon just so I can use booming blade, but
Yeah.
yeah, melee is. I'd rather use a spell with a +7 than try to swing with my warhammer at a +3.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
it. It's very
that's
thematic.
Sarjack Strun, the arcane hierophant.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too. A lot of it. It's really cool when you have the constraint of it shouldn't work, right? Because then you don't want to pick the most optimal things. So
Yeah.
all right. Nice. Very nice. Do you want me to go? I'll go next. To my boy. I'll share the sheet with y'all in a second, but I'm going to talk a little bit first. My boy Gregory the Magnificent is the name of my wizard. And my concept was a strength wizard. That's it. Strength wizard was the concept. So there's a couple things that I didn't do that I want to talk about first that were options in my mind. So for the character race, I almost went Githyanki, but then I realized Githyanki changed. The legacy Githyanki had access to medium armor, but the new ones from the multiverse book don't have that anymore. I typically try to do the most up-to-date content and not use the legacy stuff, but kind of sad they lost the weapon and armor proficiency. Could also do mountain dwarf, but I've seen that done before. I've seen a mountain dwarf wizard. They start with medium armor proficiency, which would be great. So I didn't do those things. For subclass, you could easily go Bladesinger because nothing in Bladesinger is tied to dex at all. You could do all that with strength if you wanted to. But I thought that one was a little too on the nose because Bladesinger is I want to be a melee wizard, I'm going to do Bladesinger, right? It doesn't feel like the shouldn't work category.
Mm-hmm.
For the feat, I almost chose Polearm Master. Because I thought that'd be really interesting because you have access to a quarterstaff, right? But then to me, that would also compete with a lot of like the melee cantrips if I wanted to take those, or like the reaction spells that I have later on. So I cut that out. For feat, I almost also went martial adept because I think it'd be hilarious to have maneuvers as a wizard. But you only get one superiority die, and you get access to 2 maneuvers, which it's basically you get 1 maneuver per fight and that's it, and you get it back on a short rest. So I was like, I want something a little more often than that. I also thought about going war magic, but it just wasn't my style. So this is what I did. Let's go to the sheet.
Yeah, I also wore my Thor shirt in honor for my character.
Nice. So here's my boy Gregory the Magnificent. We'll go over his stats, and this is why I think you're gonna love this. He is an abjuration wizard, 18 strength, 8 dexterity, 18 constitution, 10 intelligence, 14 wisdom, 10 charisma.
I love it.
He's got 17 AC because he's a turtle. He doesn't need armor. He just has it. And he currently has expertise in athletics because of some choices that I made. So I've got a staff, So in the rules, if you choose your arcane focus as a staff, unless a staff says otherwise in the description, it can be used as a quarterstaff. So his arcane focus is the quarterstaff, and that's what he uses for beating people up. Over to my features. So for wizard, I mean, I took the basic, like, so his skills are animal handling, athletics, history, investigation, perception, and survival. I thought up this whole backstory of Gregory the Magnificent, of that he was a farmer. He had a ranch where he raised almirage. If you aren't familiar with what those are the large like bunnies that have unicorn horns in them. That's what he was a farmer of. And he was forced off of his farm by the local lord because he got too popular, because his background's folk hero, because he staved off a monster that attacked the village that was close to him, and basically became a hero to the local people and was forced out of there. So that's a little bit of backstory for Gregory. So basic wizard stuff: arcane recovery. He's got abjuration. So of course, abjuration spells in your spell book, they cost less to copy, and they take less time. What I thought was interesting is arcane ward. Once per long rest, when you cast an abjuration spell of first level or higher, you can create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. Right now, the ward has 16 HP and takes damage instead of me until it's used up. And then whenever I cast a spell of first level or higher, that's abjuration again, it regains HP equal to twice the level of the spell. So when I cast more spells, it gets more HP. Pretty neat little defensive thing, just to give him a little bit of extra HP. He's got 66, which isn't bad for a wizard, I would say, with that high con. But then he acts as an extra 16, basically, to keep using on his ward and then whatever spells. Aside from that, he also has projected ward, so you can also use it on your friends, basically, to help them absorb some damage if you wanted to, because Gregory's a nice guy and he would do that to help people. What's also interesting is with a turtle, they have their unarmed strikes, so they have their claws, which are a d6 slashing damage now. I was hoping that I could use the claws because they used to be natural weapons, and natural weapons would work with the melee cantrips, but in the newest edition of Turtle, they don't. They're specifically called unarmored strikes, or unarmed strikes now, so they're no longer natural weapons. So technically, I can't booming blade with claws, but that's okay.
I call shenanigans on that. I mean, they're part of your body. They're natural, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, they don't say the phrase, but you know, whatever. I mean, if it were me, like, okay, cool, like, it's semantics where, like, the weapon has to be 1 silver piece worth, you know, and it has to be a melee weapon, and it's like, okay, well, I'll get some brass knuckles, or I'll get some claws to put over my claws. You know, whatever.
Paint your claws with silver. Boom.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that's the point, Zeus, of the melee cantrips can only be cast in a weapon. It's worth 1 silver piece is the amount of money, which they did it to keep people from casting booming blade with their component pouch, and it created other unintended effects from what I've read, which if it were me, I'd be like, sure, use it with your claws. It's stupid not to. Aside from that, normal turtle stuff. For my feat, I took skill expert, so I became proficient in athletics. It's the first bullet point. The second bullet point, you gain expertise. Then I became expert in athletics right after that. So he's got plus 10. And I increased my strength score with it. And then level 4, I picked up Tavern Brawler, and I increased my strength score. What's interesting about Tavern Brawler is, first off, pull up the sidebar here, proficient with improvised weapons. That's cool. The fourth bullet point is when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, which my claws are, or an improvised weapon on your turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple the target.
Hmm.
So I can bonus action grab them, basically, if I wanted to, with plus 10 athletics. So there might be a bit of a theme here that you're going to see very soon. So for spells, I took Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, because he's got a quarterstaff, right? He knows how to use it. Took Light because turtles can't see in the dark, so you might need to see in the dark. And I took Mold Earth because I was like, he's a farmer. What kind of spells would he use for farming? Mold Earth makes sense too. And here's what's interesting. None of the spells that I've picked, and I'll go over the ones I've prepared. I'll just go over the ones I've picked. None of the spells I picked requires intelligence at all. So it does not matter that he has 10 intelligence as a wizard whatsoever. So the spells that I ended up picking versus what I have prepared. So absorb elements. Basically, it's a reaction. If something hits me with energy, I can gain resistance to it. And then the first time I hit someone with melee on the next turn, then they take an extra d6 of that type of damage. So yeah. And then aside from absorb elements, I took Featherfall. Any discerning wizard would have Featherfall. It's not prepared currently. I took Find Familiar which is a ritual, which is another theme, is that I can just cast rituals and have them up. So what I chose, and this is a bit of a stretch of the rules, I would need DM approval. I picked an Almirage as my familiar because he's a farmer of the little bunnies with the unicorn horns on, so why not? I almost picked like a cat or like the Tressims to say he was hurting cats, but I wanted the little cute unicorn bunny.
I'll allow it. Bunny's allowed.
Thank you, as VS DM. The thing is about Find Familiar is they take their turn immediately after you. I'm just gonna have them give the help action. So if I am grappling somebody, next turn I'm gonna shove them to the ground. And the bunny just keeps giving me the help action to do these things, which gives me an advantage. The thing is, you're grappled, you have 0 speed. If you're shoved on the ground, you have to have speed to get up. So they have to get out of my grapple to get up, basically.
All right.
Yep. And then, like Zeus is saying, my arcane ward, I can protect my little bunny with it if I need to, give him a little more HP. I also named my particular familiar, is named Clover, by the way, is their name, because that's what they like to eat. I picked Magic Missile because that's the best wizard spell in the game, and you can't tell me otherwise. Every wizard should take Magic Missile.
Guaranteed hit unless they shield.
Speaking of shield, I took shield as well. Nice reaction spell. So I've got options of I can cast shield if they try to hit me, or if they do some kind of AoE stuff, I just I use absorb elements and soften the blow a bit. I also took sleep that does not depend upon your intelligence, so that could be good. I also took Tensor's Floating Disc, a good utility spell, and then if he's out, has to move his little bunnies or move some crops. Yeah, that's a handy spell, the Floating Disc, so you can put stuff on it. Let's see, Unseen Servant, which would basically be his spell version of a farmhand to help him out. Arcane Lock, just because, a nice utility spell. Blur, which is great, especially if he's going to be a melee wizard. He has decently high AC with 17, so Blur is a really good option there. So they're going to have disadvantage every time they try to attack him, which is awesome. Misty Step for if he needs to get away in a pinch. Rope Trick, which is just a really cool utility spell. And if you're not familiar with it, you basically have rope and you cast your spell on it. It rises up in the air and it forms like a little miniature extra dimensional space that can house up to you or 8 you and 7 other medium or smaller creatures. And you can pull the rope in the space and it lasts for an hour. So you basically can get yourself a free short rest if you really want it. Or, maybe he wants to, take a little rest, doesn't want to have to worry about the his little bunnies that he's trying to herd, and he just puts them all in the rope trick with him and has lunch, takes a breather. Who knows? Haste, which is a chef's kiss for any kind of melee character in general, which is just fantastic. So the speed is doubled. They get +2 AC, advantage on dex saves. They get an additional action, which can be used to attack, dash, disengage, hide, or use an object. And if I remember correctly, I believe the grapple is just if you use the attack action with an unarmed strike. So another chance to grab somebody if he wants to. Took Tiny Hut, great utility spell. Life Transference. So Life Transference, another one that doesn't depend on intelligence. You can sacrifice some of your health to heal someone else. He takes 4d8 necrotic damage, and then a creature of his choice regains a number of hit points equal to twice the amount that he took. So if I roll 48 and I take 16, something else gets 32.
Dang.
So neat little
Ooh-wee.
little spell. Speak with Dead, because I thought it'd be funny. Was the one that I took. Dimension Door, another great utility spell to get the heck out with a buddy. Which would be absolutely cute as hell to grab his little bunny Clover and Dimension Door out of a sticky situation. So why not? 4th level Fabricate as well, which is a great utility spell. You just convert raw materials into something. The examples they give, it can be a large or smaller object, and you have to have the raw materials for it. So they're like, oh, if you needed to like create a bridge, you have wood there and metal for like nails or whatever. Oh, you make a bridge, and it takes 10 minutes. All kinds of fun stuff there. Fire Shield, which is another fantastic spell for any melee character. So basically Fire Shield isn't concentration either, so you could have it with haste or with blur or whatever. But basically you create a shield on yourself, and they can either provide you with what's called a warm shield or a chill shield. The warm shield grants resistance to cold damage, and the chill shield grants you resistance to fire damage. So it's either or. In addition, whenever creatures within 5 feet of you hits me with a melee attack, the shield erupts with flame, and they take 2d8 fire or 2d8 cold, depending on what shield I took. So another little extra thing that lasts for 10 minutes is in concentration. Every time they smack me, they're taking some damage.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then Stone Shape, just a really cool utility to have as a spellcaster. So,
and farmer.
And a farmer, exactly.
I don't know why, but I'm picturing like this crazy strong turtle punching somebody in the face, wrestling them to the ground, and then just point blank beaming them with magic missile to that face.
Yeah, or just beating the hell out of him with his walking stick, man. And
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, so he's got a staff as his arcane focus and quarterstaff, and in my mind, I saw it as like a shepherd's crook for his little bunny, his little Almirage that he herds around. So he basically he smacks you with a claw, grabs you with it, and then wrestles you to the ground and just beats you with his shepherd's crook until you're done.
It's amazing.
I love it. I want to see Giggery in campaign 2 somewhere.
Bun was like, you better play Gregory in some campaign. I'm like, I mean, it's fun. Like, I think it'd be hilarious. But yeah, I had fun making this one. I think if I didn't have the constraints of like shouldn't work, I would have went a very different direction. Like I could have went like a legacy Githyanki, or like a dwarf like Blade Singer and had actual martial weapons and did crazy shit with that. But this one's still cool. Like I like it, and I had to make interesting choices. And I didn't have to take 10 intelligence, but I really wanted to lean into like, this should not work. You're a wizard. So, but yeah, 10 intelligence wizard. There you go.
Yeah, well done. Everyone loves Gregory.
Yeah.
Gregory's the best,
Good.
man. He's the best of us. And like what we were saying before Stream VS, like I took like several hours to make him on like Sunday
Yeah.
because I just got too into it.
Well, I suppose it's my turn now, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about your concept and what
Okay.
you were trying
Well,
to do.
I went into this wanting to try. Um, for some reason, my brain kept telling me do something with Artificer. I was like,
Mm.
okay, I already knew I wanted to do Artificer, and then I'm like, what sort of like character image am I trying to build here? And I thought, what if a monk, but super invested into like technology and magic?
Mm.
So, uh, I guess that leads me to introduce Mecha.
Amazing.
He's a Loxodon,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a level 5 monk, level 3 artificer. So I pictured him with a background, I believe it was cloistered scholar. Does
Mm-hmm.
that sound right?
Yeah.
Oh, the
So
same as my guy.
Nice.
yeah. So I pictured some far off academy, monastery, something where the focus is mind and body, where you're free to learn magic, you're free to tinker, you're free to
Mm-hmm.
do all of this, and then they also teach like physical discipline because we all know that magic casters out in the world, they can get caught off guard,
Mm-hmm.
get in sticky situations. So this is a hone your physical body and hone your mind. And that's where he studied for years and years and years before deciding to adventure on his own. With this, and keep in mind, I am familiar with Monk. I had not really seen anything for Artificer other than I know one of them could make a little friend
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of battle. And I knew I wanted that because I wanted to have a little mecha Loxodon. So like a miniature robot version of mecha, basically.
Amazing.
Um,
Little mini mecha.
if I don't know what you got you got it up.
I
Okay.
got it pulled up, yeah.
As you can
Also,
see,
I'll say before you get to the sheets, Bun says you'll need to play these for a one shot. I mean, if somebody wants to DM it and wants to come
Yeah.
up with a one shot and plan all of it, then I'll play Gregory. Why not?
We'll play our unconventional characters.
All right, go ahead, yes.
yeah, I'd be down. As you can see, the stats are a little funky, especially for something that is featuring a monk. Because monks, you get your AC by combining your dex and your wisdom. But as you can see, I have 11 wisdom, 16 intelligence, 18 constitution, and 14 dexterity. So with that in mind, it's kind of why I chose Loxodon in the first place because they have a better unarmored defense than you would get with just being a monk,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
where it has to do with your con modifier.
Yeah.
It's like 12 plus your con modifier. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna make that fits right in line with the type of school it was because it's not about flexing your physical skill so much. It's about being powerful with your magic, with your tinkering, and then the physicality aspect is like a secondary sort of like if you need that physical self-defense. So this is much more focused on being a mobile, beefy spellcaster that if the situation gets out of hand still has some monk skills in there because I chose way the open palm
Mm-hmm.
for the monk, which gives me some nice utility. And for the artificer, what's it, battlesmith?
That's
That's
my
the one.
favorite.
Yeah. So that gives you a little robot body. Features. There's a lot because this is kind of a crazy character.
Yeah.
You have all the stuff that comes with artificer, so your tinkering, your spell casting, your item infusions. Now here's the interesting thing. So monks, you have to use monk weapons, simple weapons. Um, so my dex modifier isn't that high. So you might be thinking, well, how are you going to reliably land hits on stuff if you're not pumping dex? That's where the intelligence comes in, because you can infuse a weapon, make it magical, and then battlesmiths have a feature. If I can find it, I think it's called Battle Ready or something to that effect.
Yes, it is.
Which, when you're using a magical weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier for attack rolls
Mhm.
and damage,
Mm.
which is nice because
Yes.
I'm always gonna have the infused spear, and it will be a throwable infused, not, yeah, throwable infused spear, because they have a return. You throw the
Yeah.
spear and you can call it back to you. Um, like I said, along with that, you got the Steel Defender, which is your little robo buddy, which has stats of his own and does his own little things. You can be
Mhm.
protective. You can actually hit stuff. You can impose disadvantage on an enemy that's within 5 feet of you, or an ally, or somebody that's near it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you got a hefty boy, 75 HP because of that high constitution, 16 armor class because of the Luxodon unarmored defense.
Mhm.
You
What
have
infusions did you choose before we move on?
I chose enhance weapon,
Mhm.
which makes it just straight magical. The returning weapon, mind sharpener,
Mhm.
and I don't really remember the last one.
I was gonna say, because if you want Mecha to have a little buddy, Humunculus Servant, you could also make a mini Mecha if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
I toyed with that. I toyed with that, but I really wanted the throwing spear
Yeah.
come
I just
back
thought
to
it'd be
me.
funny.
Yeah. So here's the other aspect of this. Since I'm not going to be relying on my dex to hit things, and I'm not going to be doing that much damage with just a straight attack, even with a magical spear. But spells, artificers get
Yeah.
spells. I get 2 cantrips, so I chose Booming Blade, which is
Mhm.
fantastic, and Shocking Grasp, since I'm going to be in melee range a majority of the time. And then the spell list there isn't that great for artificers, especially Battlesmith Artificer. Um, it comes with like heroism and shield, which shield is probably going to be what I use my spell slots on.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just more AC in a pinch. And then I added a little more survivability stuff like Cure Wounds.
Mhm.
Added Identify as a ritual because he's a smart boy.
Mhm.
Um, and I
Don't.
picked Catapult as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the mechanics of Catapult, like if that can be applied to my spear or if it has to be another type of object.
An object
Um,
weighing 1 to 5 pounds that isn't being worn or carried.
yeah, I
But
chose
don't
that.
don't sleep on catapult and play it like a Larian game and just catapult like an alchemist fire or something onto somebody.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
not?
like literally, because it will do 3d8 bludgeoning damage, but there's nothing
Mhm.
to sneeze at. But again, I think most of those slots are going to go to my reaction. Maybe Long Strider if we want to be fast. Okay, I got to talk about the movement speed because monk stuff.
Yeah, it's
50
wild.
feet movement speed as a Loxodon
Mm. Mm.
with a
So
mini robot Loxodon following in tow just would look so funny.
the Steel Defender has a movement speed of like 42, like 40 feet as well, right? They're also pretty
What
quick.
what is it?
Your Steel Defender,
Uh,
your little guy,
yeah, I didn't look too closely at its stats because I was like
40 feet.
racking my brain trying to figure out how I was gonna make this thing work.
I just know a lot
If
about
we
Battlesmith because I played the hell out of one. So
if we did do a one shot, my character would be lagging screaming at you guys to wait up.
We'd have to get you a horse or something, man.
Like, guys, wait.
Um, I guess I can talk about proficiencies a little bit. I just some of the stuff you would expect from Monk, +5 in acrobatics. Um, he has +6 in Arcana, +6 in history. This is all coming from intelligence.
Mhm.
A little bit in investigation. Well, you have advantage on investigation and perception. I think that's a Loxodon thing because of the nose. The nose gets like keen smell or something.
Oh,
It gives
yeah.
you advantage. Well, advantage on perception and survival and investigation.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which if smart guys coming along and you know it, that'd be pretty handy if the party needs to investigate ruins or any other
Mhm.
magical crap that might be coming your way.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It looks like a mess on the character sheet. I didn't even get into the monk stuff because it's only level 3 monk. So,
But still, you've got like step of the wind, patient defense, like flurry of blows. Because if
Mhm.
you don't use your attack cantrip, then you can punch people with dex still.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. There's stunning strike, yeah. Um, I was toying with the idea of doing what was it? 4 elements
Hmm.
to just throw even more
Uh,
magic on the pile,
mhm.
but I didn't feel like 4 elements really fit with the image I had in mind.
Yeah.
So that's why I just stuck with open hand because it's like the standard basic like kung fu monk, right? Which is what I wanted. I wanted a spellcaster that had some martial arts as a backup, um, in case he needed it. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about him. It took me like
What
4
feat?
hours.
What feat did you use?
I picked mobile actually.
Ah.
Oh
The
man.
idea being like I can get in there, beat somebody up, hit them with booming blade, and then bounce out, create some distance. And if they came towards me, they'd take the damage from booming blade. So it's kind of like a little bit of hit and run. But then if you don't want to play that style, you can just be up in people's face, and you're still
Hmm.
doing pretty solid with that high HP pool and not terrible armor class.
What weapon are you using?
Weapon is
Oh, the spear. You
spear.
said that already. Yeah. My
Spear
bad.
with a short sword on backup, some darts. Um, so yeah, name of the game is make that spear magical. Use your intelligence modifier to attack. Hit them with, your good melee cantrips and rely on little buddy to get in there and rough up some people to
Yeah. I
your
remember
little mecha elephant.
when I played a battlesmith at higher level, I had steel defender, but then I also had the homunculus servant and my little
Mhm.
flying robot. And depending on what was going on, I would stand beside my steel defender. He would dodge by default and would deflect attacks. People tried to hit me. And then the homunculus servant has a ranged attack that it can just pew pew at as well. So
I
I love
really
artificers. Artificers. I wish they had more subclasses.
I really wanted to do the armorer
Hmm.
artificer with monk. I
Yeah.
wanted to so badly, but to make it work, I would essentially have to abandon monk's identity completely with the martial arts stuff,
Hmm.
which I didn't really want to do. It could have been really cool, but then it would have just been like you're only playing like artificer at that point.
Yeah, because you lose a lot of monk specific stuff if you're wearing
Yeah.
armor.
Yep.
Nothing that is the martial arts feature
Yeah.
of monk will work if you have armor on. And I was so sad because I wanted like cyber monk, and I'm like, this is
Yeah.
not gonna work.
I bet that
Nice.
that would work for the topic though. Like characters
Yeah.
that shouldn't work.
Yeah, I wanted to take something weird and try to mold it into something that worked halfway
Yeah.
decently. So I don't know. I probably could have done some things better on this. Maybe toyed around with the stats a little bit more, but after 4 hours of this, I was like, this is what I got.
It's definitely a fun little exercise because as a player, I don't like using like min max as like a bad phrase. I like to take optimal options to make my character feel strong, right? Like if I want to be a wizard, I want to be the best wizard I can be, you know, and not saying that I abandon like RP or character backstories. Like I want to take cool stuff that'll work well, and it's just so hard for me to just take stuff that doesn't make sense. So that's definitely a fun exercise. For sure. I had fun. I hope you all enjoyed the characters. And like I said, if you are a patron, you're gonna have access to their character sheets if you want to critique or if you wanna use them as an NPC, throw them in your game, you know, go for it.
Yeah.
It's all there. So just go to patreon.com/casters and cantrips. For Zeus, your question, which of my crazy characters? Probably Art, because I saw it happen in real time. I saw you roll for what spells you're gonna get, and they all made sense in the moment, which was just ridiculous. Like, what spells will I take this level? Oh, those all were perfect. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. This was super fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was good. Yes, it was awesome. Yeah, maybe one day we'll play him in a one shot. Who knows?
Yeah, and I'll say that I can confidently say Gregory the Magnificent would have never existed if we hadn't done this. So
there'd be no Mecca.
No, yeah, for sure. So anyway,
I wonder if it would be I wonder if it'd be interesting to do a session sometime where we try to make the most busted characters we possibly can.
As in like OP?
As in like try to optimize as much as possible and see what we come up with.
Super max.
Yeah. I don't know if that would be as fun, but it might be interesting. I don't know.
I mean, that's another exercise we could do. I'll add it to the list of things we could try. The most
at that
OP.
point, it might be like a knowledge check at that point. Like how well do you know the game?
I mean, there's like tons of Reddit posts and forum posts on everywhere, like the super crazy busted OP class builds.
Like literally pushing the boundaries of the rules type of stuff.
And then like most of the time they preface it like no DM should ever allow this, but this is what you can do. So
yeah.
We'll have to dig deep.
I'll add that to the list. It'll be fun to do it another time for sure. But that being said, thanks everybody for watching and hanging out with us. Join our Patreon if you want to get those character sheets, and we will see you all on the next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.